Hi guys, my name is Korpen and today we're taking a look at the Infanterie Kampfpanzer Churchill. And this is just a regular British Mark III Churchill, I believe. It has a 57mm 6-pounder Mark V cannon, which is fast firing. It has a reload rate of 4.5 seconds. Fairly good gun. And it does have an okay armor penetration value short. It's not really effective beyond 1,000 meters, not against the kind of opposition that it faces, but I would say this tank's sweet zone is between 500 meters and 1,000 meters. Because at that range, more or less, every tank struggles to penetrate you if you're looking at it frontally. I would say that probably the best thing you could do in a Churchill is to angle it slightly. Let's imagine that the enemy is that door. Then you would put your tank in angle like this, something like that, so that the enemy is looking at your tank this way. What happens then is that these thread guards will act as a lot more armor than they are in effect. As you can see here, you have an effective thickness of around 200 millimeters of armor, so the enemy's tanks will have enormous problems getting through this kind of armor, and they will even struggle to get through the frontal hull armor of the tank. I'm a little bit under the weather today, so you have to excuse me for not sounding like I normally do. I would say the weak spot on the tank would be the front plate of the turret, really. It's not really thick for being a heavy tank, but it does take... An enemy tank needs to get close to penetrate the front plate of the turret. Enough said about the tank. Maybe we should have a look at some real situations where I will show you just how great this tank is, because I believe that this might be one of the best premium vehicles in the game, in all honesty. I swear to God, I love this tank. It's so it's so fun. It's pretty slow to begin with, and the reverse speed is just abysmally bad. But once you learn how to get around it by playing to the tank's strength, then this is a monster of a tank. I really do love it. And sitting at a battle rating of 4.0, you will absolutely destroy enemy teams. So I said that this tank is invulnerable, and it more or less is against enemy tanks. Now we'll have a look at what happens when you die. Maybe I should say what it takes to knock out this tank, and we'll see in a second what I mean. That is what it takes. A direct hit from Marty will suffice. And just like that, I was having a great game and all of a sudden I'm dead. This will also do some bombs, one would think, but nope. The Churchill can take a beating, and it can certainly take a strafing by an IL-2. That IL-2 hit me with a few rockets, and I didn't really take all that much damage. Here's another situation where I've gotten myself into a pickle against the T-34. But the T-34 can't kill me. What gets me is this. A cluster of 100-kilogram bombs. AR2. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, just look at this. I'm up against 3 tanks, and all of a sudden I'm getting bomb dropped on me. I'm taking a more or less a direct hit by the bomb, and everything is ruined in my tank. Can't really use it for anything other than just repairing. And I'm worseing, if I'm not completely mistaken, I think it is 3 tanks firing at me. And just look at this. They can't do anything. You know, they're just shooting, 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 and I managed to repair the turret and turn it around, and then all of a sudden the turret is damaged again, so I have to repair once more. And once I can control the turret, I get damaged again. This is what it takes. You need to get flanked by a quick moving tank. That Cromwell had enough, and he just flanked around me and came up on my side and killed me. So yeah, the Churchill, man, it's a beast. And I love heavy tanks that can really take a beating. And the Churchill was famous for being able to take a serious amount of punishment. And this is something that it was also famous for, its climbing capabilities. Just look at this. This Sherman up here, he doesn't have any idea that I'm here, and I just climb up that slope and then pop him in the side and he's done for. And that this tank had good climbing capabilities isn't fiction either, since the Churchills gave infantry support up hills in Tunisia, where the Germans had fortified hilltops and were posing as a real obstacle to overcome for the British. The Germans on the hill had no anti-tank emplacements or anti-tank defenses, and they could see to their horror how there were heavy tanks climbing up the hill towards them together with infantry. They couldn't really do anything about them other than to try to pin them down with grenade launchers and what have you. But in the end, they captured the hills, and it was much to the employment of the Churchill tanks in that particular instance. Pretty sweet tank this. I do really love it. So now we're gonna have a look at a game that I had on the Stalingrad map. It seems like the Germans transferred a few of their captured tanks over to the Eastern Front. So now we're gonna partake in the defense of the tractor factory. And you can see here that the tank isn't really fast. You know, you're doing between 10 and 20 kilometers an hour, but it's not bad, you know. It's fast enough, and it will get you to the front. And in my opinion, this tank does traverse fairly quickly as well, and the turret traverse around in a quick amount of time or a short amount of time, so that's not an issue either. And it doesn't really matter whether you're at the front or just slightly behind it, since if you're 1,000 meters away from the enemy, it's just that's just a positive thing, you know. So here I am. I'm teamed up with a Panzer III-M, trying to keep our own cap zone safe. At this point I'm just trying to play it easy and be cautious, since I am the front more or less at the moment. There I just parked to listen to see whether there was any shooting going on around me or movement, but there were none, so I move up. I notice some artillery coming in on my left, so I'm kinda suspecting that there might be a push of enemy tanks from B to A at this point, but I can't see any. But I correct the course and I head on back into the middle of the map. And if they would show up from this direction, it wouldn't be a bad thing, because I'm just a little bit angled, and all of a sudden I can see this Cromwell popping out around the corner, and I don't even aim, I just fire from the hip, so to say, without aiming. And as long as I hit center mass on that tank, I should be fine. Get a few hits in, he reverses out, and I'm taking fire from a tank behind it, turns out it's Churchill Mark III. So now I'm versing my own tank, effectively. And as you can see here, this tank can really put some hurt onto itself with the 57mm gun. It's not a bad gun at all, so if you come face to face with the Churchill Mark III, you're pretty safe. I wouldn't worry too much. It's more about whoever get the first shot off. That tank will probably win the duel. It's really about the almost 4.5 second reload rate on this tank. That really is essential for winning a duel. But I haven't forgotten about that Cromwell. I know that he's around the corner up there near the concrete building. So I'm keeping an eye on that corner all the time. And once he shows up, I give him another round and that's it. All she wrote for him. Or her. Don't really know whether it was a him or her that drove the tank or played the tank. And then I remember that I had a teammate over here, and I also remembered that there was a tank moving up. Turns out that it was a Cromwell, sorry, and I seem to have saved my friend there with a lucky shot. But, however, I'm taking fire from my 1 o'clock at the same time, and it seems like it's a Churchill, and he was the one that opened fire on me first, so that put me in a bad situation, and I took some damage, so I backed off, and luckily there was a Su-122 moving in that took care of that Mark III Churchill. So yeah, I was really lucky there. Seemed to have made it. Tank is in pretty good shape. We're on top of the leaderboard, so everything is fine. And I'm just staying here to keep our base safe should there be another push from B. But it seems like the push we have had on the right side, with a few tanks moving up, has made it through our right flank and cleared that area. So they've made a hook and gone into B to cap it. But there are British reinforcements showing up, and here I spot one of them. It seemed to be an AA car, an armored car of some sort. I'm gonna move up to get a better shot at him. And the second shot is all she wrote for that little armored car. It's not a big issue, you know, armored cars. But they can mess you up should you show them your flank and let them come close. It can really mess up the interior of the tank. Keep you detracked and stuff. So it's better to deal with them than to leave them alone. Because if you do leave them alone, they will show up behind you or something like that and set your tank on fire. So at the moment I'm just trying to grab some ground here. I can see that we're in the lead, and it seems like our team has the situation under control. So I just think that, hey, why not just move up onto the railroad tracks and put yourself up as a big fat user target for the enemy tanks. That way you can soak up damage for your team. After all, it's better that they shoot, that they try to knock me out, than, let's say, Su-122. A tank that really can't take all that much punishment. So we've scored a few kills. The game is progressing rather nicely, and we seem to have a firm grip of the B area. I'm scanning for targets. Thought I saw something over there, but might have been nothing. Don't really know, really. So reluctantly I move up, continue to push on. It to the department store area. I'm always scanning around, you know, to see whether there's tanks around me or behind me. It doesn't hurt to do that, you know. It's always a precaution that it has on numerous occasions saved my ass, really. But I can hear fire coming from my 11 o'clock-ish on my left. My plan is to move up and to flank the enemy in my Churchill. Sure enough. Hello, dead. So we're on the road. We have 6 kills. Can we make it 7 for the game? Or maybe even 8 before the game is over? We'll see. Let's just continue to move up. Once we've capped the zone, the game's over. We win. So we don't really have all that much time left. The enemy needs to do something drastic to get the lead here over the game. And I could spot the Cromwell on the railroad tracks, so he just spun around the turret, and then you could really see how fast this turret spins around when it needs to. And here's another example of it. It's not all that bad for being a heavy tank. It's a lot faster, for example, than Panzer IV. So it's not bad at all. And yeah, the game is more or less coming to a close now, and everyone's just waiting for the win. And put I something there, and in fact I did. It was a tank of some sort, but it's too late. We've capped the zone and the game's over. And I get Heavy Metal Fury, and the game ends on 7 kills. Could have been 8 had I had 5 more seconds of the game, but it was not to be this time. And meanwhile, we've transferred over to Eastern Europe. So I guess the Germans have been pushed back a fair bit through Russia, and now we're in, I don't know, Poland, perhaps? Maybe not. Could be Bulgaria, Hungary. Yeah, whatever. And during this clip, we'll see some prime examples of side scraping around corners and stuff. I've taken up a forward position. I am the very front at the moment, and you see the angling on my tank here. Now, that enemy tank doesn't really have a chance there, but had he been able to fire back, I would have been very well protected from fire. In fact, as you can see here, there's incoming fire, and he just bounced off my thread guard, more or less. Whereas I can put in some very effective fire onto him. All of a sudden there's an M10 Wolverine sticking out his ugly snout, but he got popped right away. And I'm trying to deal with this M4. It's not that easy. The M4 is a tough cookie to crack for this gun, but it's doable. In the end there he did burn up, so I got the kill. And I have no critical damage on the tank, so it's all good. You can also see some kind of vehicle there between the buildings. I don't know what it is, but I got a lucky shot in there, and it seems like it is a Chaffee who's on fire. And his engine is out, so he's not going anywhere. Taken some kind of damage, don't really know what, but the message says that I can repair the tank now, but I don't really know why. There's some kind of tank over there. That's a Matilda, but that Matilda realized what's happening, so tank moves in behind the building in cover. So here's me side scraping out. I'm just reversing very slowly out at the angle from the building, so that I won't give any part of my front away. I won't show it towards the enemy. And what that does is that it does really increase the effective thickness on the armor. But in a moment where I'm not angled at all, I take a frontal hit, and it seems like it's M4, and I return fire right away, hit his transmission, but unfortunately that tank succeeds in reversing in behind the building. So I park here and I wait for a few seconds. That M4 puts down some RT onto my location, so I have to reverse out. Keep my aiming reticle on that building. But it seems like there's a lot of stuff happening at the same time. So I want to get out, and I turn around the tank and I go in behind the building, and just as I do that, I'll take a shot from my 2 o'clock position. Can't really see what kind of tank it is, but from the shot camera I can see that it's a Cromwell, and it doesn't take more than 2 hits to knock out the Cromwell. The Cromwell is adequately armored at the front, but if it shows you the side like that, he's done. And some really effective artillery is coming in here onto my team, and my whole team is taking a fair beating at this point, and it's more or less only I and a few more tanks up here. But the enemy keeps on pushing. There's a Sherman. You could also see someone firing from my right at roughly 2 o'clock between the trees. There's someone firing over there. I took a hit. That tank hit my transmission, but since I'm playing at high graphical settings, I can't really see what's in there. And there's a tank behind me. Maybe that was the tank that knocked out my engine, but I couldn't depress the gun enough to get a beat on that Crusader, I think it was. And all of a sudden my team gets bombed again. I'm really lucky that plane didn't bomb me since I was detracked and I was having issues with my engine. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening, but we're once again at the fairly good angle here, even though we're showing off our frontal hull plate towards the enemy should they come around the corner. Some automatic fire hitting my engine deck there. There's another AAA vehicle that just rolls out right in front of me. Maybe it thought I was dead or something like that. I'll take a hit, detract again. You can see what kind of damage magnet or bullet magnet this tank is. Everybody wants to fire at you and they want you dead because you're such a great threat, you know, a big heavy tank with a fast firing gun. And yeah, this tank is no joke to face if you're in a light or a medium tank. With those shots pumping out every 5 seconds or so, and this kind of thickness on the armor, you can really stay alive for a long time. And you can deal substantial bucket load of damage onto the enemy team if given half a chance or so. And in most cases, it ends up with the enemy team, someone in the team spawning in a bomber or an attack aircraft, just diving down onto you and knocking you out with a well-placed missile or a bomb, something like that. And I could see that tank that was in here somewhere, firing again, and I'm thinking, okay, you're next. You're gonna get it this time. It doesn't seem like he had spotted me coming. We mow down some trees. Oh, he's even shooting to my right. And yeah, that's one shaft less to worry about. So finally, our team has gotten a firm grip over the situation here. We've beaten back a few waves of tanks, and now it's just a matter of mopping up the area and winning the game. And yeah, I've been having a good game so far. There's a... couldn't tell, but it looked like a Churchill. I only got one shot off before he had moved away. And it seems like I'm the only one who spotted him between the buildings. And the rest of my team are more concerned about moving up towards the last cap zone. And maybe even spawn camping the enemy. And there you can see a tracer coming out. So that was probably that Churchill that I left behind. I took a pot shot at the Stug. Or maybe he knocked out another tank that was around here. So I thought to myself, okay, we need to deal with that Churchill, because otherwise he's going to show up behind it. I rolled around the corner and I shoot while going, just to get that first crucial shot off at the tank, and I aim for the center mass, and it only takes one shot this time to knock out the enemy Churchill. So once again we move up through the town. As always, I check my corners as I move up, and when I cross the street I take precautions to check all the angles to see whether there are tanks waiting for me. Well, we're pretty safe at the moment. Doesn't seem like there's a lot going on in this sector. So I just move up in a supportive role to my team. And I spot this Cromwell moving up. He tries to answer the fire, but the shot goes wide. And second shot cripples the tank again. And third shot critically hits the tank. And yeah, someone bombs. Was planning to say somebody bombs my teammates to my right, but yeah, you know the drill. Can't play the Churchill and stay alive. There's always somebody spawning in a plane to bomb or just strafe you to bits. So you better enjoy it while it lasts, because sooner or later you will get it. That's the story of this video. Let's have a look at some other clips, and let's just wrap this video up with my conclusions about the tank, if it hasn't been obvious already. I do indeed like this tank to bits. I haven't had all that many games where I haven't scored multiple kills during a game, and the gun really performs the way you would think that a fast-firing 57mm gun would. You know, it penetrates most tanks that you go up against and it fires quickly. So I have nothing to complain about there. And the tank really feels like a heavy tank in earnest. It has some weight to it, but it's not crippling. You know, it's not that heavy. Like, for example, the mouse. The mouse is very hard to get around with, but this tank is fairly nimble when it comes to moving about. It does traverse well, and the turret traverses exceptionally well. And most people get surprised by this tank, how quickly it can get around at times. So I've had few games where I've been scoring 6, 7, 8 kills, and these games that I've shown you today, two games that does pair up rather nicely. But I have been having very good games, and games where this tank really was the centerpiece of the match, you know. I would go up to a location, I would take ground for my whole team, and then hold it and just take a ton of beating until the rest of my team could just move up and cover me and take over the ground that I conquered. It does really suit an aggressive player, you know. It promotes an aggressive playstyle. You need to be either a long-range sniper in this tank, or you're really aggressive and sort of an attacker that use side-scraping techniques around buildings and around other elevation curves to gain an advantage over the enemy. And yeah, so far this tank has been probably the best 1900 Golden Eagles that I've spent so far in the game. With that said, I think we are going to wrap up this video here and end it. After all, we're up to 31 minutes, almost 32. So, as always guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I see you guys around in the next video.